Gina, it's such a privilege both to hear you and to see you. I wish I could see you physically. I'm finding this separation extremely difficult. But on the other hand, I was deeply depressed, as Jochen and Alexandra, by that Zoom bombing. And it's sort of like a parallel to the interference with Facebook and other media by way of the Cambridge Analytica scandal. That, in other words, the possibilities of this wonderful way of communicating also include the possibilities of its being Zoom bombed and distorted. So we have to be alert. I don't wish to downplay, if I gave the wrong impression, that activism of your sort and other sorts of online activism, one of my former students is a very strong proponent of what he calls the new citizenship order. And I think there's a great deal that young people especially can do actively through online virtual meetings. It's absolutely crucial, but they must be alert to the dangers that lurk or that actually obtrude. And you mentioned some very far right people. Well, you probably know that there are some particularly horrible, especially in America, people who exploit classical texts, because sadly, of course, there are misogynists in every society, and there are therefore misogynist texts that you can exploit. But for example, Donna Zuckerberg, the sister of the founder, Mark, of Facebook, she suffers personally as well as institutionally the sort of abuse that you are mentioning, and she's fought back. She has recuperated what the ancient world can give us in a positive way, but nevertheless there's a torrent of filth out there that we have somehow to try to counteract. And so thank you. Your example to me, to others, is absolutely a shining one. You're a wonderful person. Thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to just also say that, you know, the reason, and one of the things I said earlier on was about an evolution, not just a revolution. And I think that it's really important to not just, I mean, certainly we need to counteract that and we need to mute some voices in some cases, in some ways, but I also wish that we could finally find a way as a global human family to really get to the root of hate, to the root of feeling the need to be powered over another human being.
Yeah.
Because I understand that our minds work in different ways, and you know, I understand that, you know, we need some sense of order per se, maybe. I don't know if we can sort of, if we got rid of governments, could we actually govern ourselves? Would we find a way to have equity? I'm sure it wouldn't work right away, but, you know, I wish that there was just a way that we could really deal with people's mental health and early childhood development and places where their chemistry and their environment together maybe had issue, and that those things could be addressed and seen early on. Because I feel like it's more than just changing laws. It's more than just, you know, voting for people who sort of get the idea, you know, or voting for the lesser of the two evils, or we really have to take a deeper look. I feel once again this sort of American experiment in capitalism. You know, it's so interesting that that Hamilton has this great Broadway show and is being sort of put on a quasi pedestal, and yet I would wonder what he would think about our capitalist democracy at this time. You know, I just really feel like what we're in need of, and what I so appreciate about the World Human Forum, is an evolution of ideas, an evolution of digging deeper and looking more deeply into the human condition and the power and the imagination that we all bring to envision something new and something that perhaps we've never experienced before. But that's why I really talk a lot about that we need an evolution, not just a revolution.
There are two things I'd love to share in this conversation, if I could. And thank you so much, Gina, for bringing so many things to the fore that I wholeheartedly agree with. One is the role of women to make democracy work.